Alright guys, it is time for the Scottish Football Roundup Show. This weekend showcased the Old Firm derby. It was Celtic versus Rangers. All eyes was on that game. But we're going to start in League 2. We're going to start in shit League 2 because even shit leagues like League 2 need some love. So we will get on to the Rangers-Celtic game later on towards the end of the video. So if you want to see that, I guess just skip forward. But if you want to see some really shite teams and some, you know, just dodgy looking results that nobody cares about, then stick around for the Scottish League 2. So we had Annan Athletic beat Forfar Athletic in the Battle of the Athletics by 2-1. The funny thing is, probably both teams don't even have one Athletic player between them, yet they're both called Athletic. They're funny that. East Fife lost at home to Dumbarton. Elgin City with a 2-0 win against Bonnyrigg Rose at home. Stenhousemuir beat Stranraer by 3-1. And I've actually been to Stranraer several times. Is there any Stranraer fans watching this? Let me know. Been on the P&O a few times from Stranraer. So, aye, big Stranraer fans. And speaking of where I've been, Stirling Albion, been to Stirling quite a lot of times too. Albion Rovers by Coatbridge, fuck me, I've been there as well. I've been to pretty much everywhere in League 2. Jesus Christ, maybe I should do a tour of League 2 and go to every single game and start doing match day vlogs. Could you imagine the joys watching this pish for 90 minutes? Anyway, let's have a quick look then at the League 2 table. No offence to anybody that is unlucky enough to support a team from League 2, but Dumbarton at the moment, they're leading the way, played 6, won 6, 14 goals scored, only 3 conceded, 11 plus goal difference. It's looking like Dumbarton will win the league. I mean, I can't see anybody really catching them. At the start, I predicted 2 teams. I'm pretty sure one was Dumbarton and one was Forfar Athletic. So, I mean, I've got one at the top and I've got one right at the bottom. I mean, who knows, mate? I'll need to check which one I predicted first. Hopefully it was Dumbarton. Either way, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I just can't see past Dumbarton, man. They're looking far too good, and I think they will win the Scottish League 2. Let's move on to the Scottish League 1. We go up a level, and perhaps the biggest surprise of the weekend. And yeah, I would say this was a bigger shocker than Celtic Rangers. I didn't think Celtic beating Rangers by a big scoreline was actually a shock. I actually predicted it, but what I didn't see coming was Airdrieonians losing 6-0 at home to FC Edinburgh. And there's nothing against FC Edinburgh. It's not to say FC Edinburgh aren't a decent side. They are, but Airdrie have been so good this season. I believe they were top of the table before this game. I think they were one of the only unbeaten sides in the entire Scottish Football and League pyramid. So for them to lose 6-0 against FC Edinburgh, I didn't see it coming. I don't think anybody seen it coming with a set of eyes. But yeah, massive result there for FC Edinburgh. And in my opinion, this is the biggest, most shocking result of the weekend. We move on with Clyde. They lost at home 2-4 to Alloa Athletic. Celtic Hearts picked up a much needed win. They were down at the bottom. They needed a win. They got a win against Falkirk. Falkirk, a lot of people predicted Falkirk to be competing for the Scottish League 1 this season, but they haven't been having it their own way, man. They've been struggling, so be interesting to see how they bounce back for this. But a big win for Celtic Hearts. And I feel like they needed this. The longer it went on without a win, the harder it was going to get for them. So we'll see if Celtic Hearts kick on now. Because I actually thought Celtic Hearts would be around the top half of the table. But like I said, they've had a horrible start and they've been right down the bottom. But we'll see if this result changes their fate. We had Peterhead losing to Montrose at home by 2-0. And Queen of the South lost to the favourites for this league title, Dunfermline, also by the scoreline of 2-0. So there was 3 games in this that finished 2-0. 2-0, a very popular scoreline in the Scottish League 1 this weekend. And if we look at the Scottish League 1 table, Dunfermline are at the top on 14 points. They're unbeaten, 4 wins and 2 draws, 8 goals scored and only 1 conceded. So while Dunfermline aren't exactly scoring lots of goals at the back, they are really, really good. They've only conceded 1. So therefore, if you don't concede many goals, you're unlikely to lose games. And Dunfermline seem to understand that, and that's why they haven't lost any. That's why they're the only unbeaten side in this league. With FC Edinburgh currently in second, also with 4 wins, but unfortunately have 2 losses. Montrose and Airdrie then, both in 3rd and 4th place with 11 points each. With Falkirk in 5th place with 10 points. Alloa Athletic on 9. Clyde down in 7th. Queen of the South in 5th. That win for Celtic Hearts puts them onto 4 points, moves them off the bottom of the table, and Peterhead then drop down into 10th. So, like I said, I think Celtic Hearts needed that. As for the top of the table, still, it's going to be interesting. I mean, I wouldn't say Dunfermline's going to run away with it. Not yet, at least. I'd be interested. I mean, I did predict Dunfermline to win this, but I still think it could be close. I still think Falkirk could, give them a run for their money. Whereas, can anyone else do it? I don't know. We'll see. But Dunfermline definitely look like the favourites, and they definitely look like the pick of the bunch. So, yeah, good weekend for them as they go top of the table. Moving on to the Championship now, where we do actually get to see some quality, and it's not been a quality season for Dick Campbell's Arbroath. I tell you that, man. Last season had the fairy tale year. People thought they were going to go up. They were battling with Kilmarnock. For a period, actually, they were top of the table. And I genuinely believe Arbroath would have won the league last year had Kelly not brought in Derek McInnes. But they did. Derek McInnes managed to get Kelly to first place in the end. And Arbroath then finished second, and they couldn't do it in the playoffs. They ended up losing to Inverness Cally Thistle. I predicted this season that I didn't predict them to do as bad as they're doing, but I did think that last season was their one and only shot. It was like the one chance they had of going up. I didn't think they'd be a top team this season in the Championship, and they haven't been. And they've actually lost to the team that I predicted would win the Championship, Partick Thistle, by 2-0. So I'm not quite sure where Arbroath are in the table, but they must be right down the bottom. Then we had Cove Rangers drawn with Hamilton Academical, 2 goals apiece. Dundee, a big one at home at Dens Park, 3-0 against Queen's Park. Greenock Morton, big shout out to Chris's Morton TV, big Chris's Morton TV, man. Wonder if he was at the game. Unfortunately, had to watch his team get beat by 2-1 thanks to Ayr. I like Chris's Morton TV, big shout out to him. They're probably the most likeable Scottish YouTuber on this channel. He's not a prick like fucking CJ Novo and fucking Four Eyes who's masturbating over Celtic. Wasn't that 2 years ago when Celtic were pish, was it? No. Anyway, don't want to lose my train of thought here. Raith Rovers lost at home by 2-0 to Inverness Caledonian Thistle. So that's what the scorelines were. Let's have a look then at the table. Ayr United, still top, still the only unbeaten side, 14 points. They lead from Partick Thistle with 13. Then we've got Dundee and Queen's Park, both on 10. Inverness Cally on 8. Morton on 8. Hamilton on 7. Raith Rovers on 6. Cove Rangers on 4. And last in the table, it is Arbroath with no wins so far, just the 2 draws and 4 defeats. Only scored 3 goals in 6 games, so they're averaging 1 goal every 2 games. That is just not good enough, is it really? When you think about it, that is pretty damn shocking. And that's why they're bottom. You cannot score 1 goal in every 2 games and expect to be anywhere other than, down the bottom of a league table. And unless things change for Arbroath, they could go down. I didn't see it happening at the start of the season. I thought they would probably finish around 6th or 7th. But as things stand, I mean, they could go down. And I'd hate to see Dick Campbell get sacked after, the heroics that he almost pulled. Oh, well, he did pull off heroics. I know he didn't go up, but, he still had a great season. So I'd hate to see Dick Campbell get sacked, but I would not be surprised if Arbroath, the way things are, I know it's early days, I know we're only 6 games in, but it's not looking good for them, guys, is it? Something has to change. Who knows, maybe 1 win they could kick on. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not going to condemn them to League One yet, but something has to change because at the moment it's not looking too good for them. Then we move on to the big one, guys. The big league, the Scottish Premiership, where it all goes down, where it all matters, where all the big money is, where the millions and billions are played for. It's the Scottish Cinch Premiership. Maybe not billions, millions, maybe a fiver and a bottle of Iron Brew, maybe a bag of chips if you're lucky. But here we go. We had Celtic in the big game defeating Rangers by 4-0. What a win for Celtic, man. Does it get any better than that? The Old Firm derby, first Old Firm derby of the season, they made a statement. I heard a lot of pundits saying, I think Kenny Miller was certainly one of them, Barry Ferguson too, saying that Gio Van Bronckhorst had learned Ange Postecoglou's tactics, and he had, I think the quote was, sussed him out. Well, he better go back to the learning board, man, and he better get the wee tactics back up. Maybe he should load up Football Manager or something, because I think he's got a lot more to suss out, man, based on this performance. It was 4-0 Celtic. And it was easy. You know, Rangers never really came close to scoring. Kolak got on the ball a couple of times, but I mean, like I said, I never really once felt like Rangers were going to score. And I feel like Celtic maybe could have done more than 4-0, to be fair, but the second half they were really, really quiet until the end where they kind of came alive again. So, I mean, who knows? They didn't really have that same intensity that they had against Dundee United. Albeit Rangers weren't as bad as Dundee United, although they were bad. You know, there was a lot of players. You had John McLaughlin, probably the worst game of his career. You had the captain, Tavernier, the big £60 million man, who was fucking dog shit. There was a lot of passengers in that Rangers side. So, a game to forget. And then both those sides have big Champions League games coming up this week. So, a chance for Celtic to go and, you know, have another great night when they take on Real Madrid. And it's a chance for Rangers to try and get the fans back on their side and make up for this Old Firm disaster by getting a result against, I believe it's Napoli they play. I think it's Napoli or Ajax, who cares? I don't think they'll win anyway. I don't think it really matters. We then had Hibernian 10 men. Hibernian seen off Kilmarnock. Hibernian had the lead 10 minutes into the game and they couldn't add to it, you know. And yeah, they were the better team, but when it's 1-0, you know, you're leaving it late, and we all know Hibs like a late goal, but what if Kilmarnock had scored a late goal here and got a draw? It would have been an absolute disaster, considering Hibs had all those chances and had a man advantage for 80 minutes. So while I think Lee Johnson will just be relieved to get the win, to get 3 points, I think he might be a little bit concerned that Hibs didn't, you know, bury Kilmarnock and put this game to bed. Hearts versus Livingston, 1-0 Livingston. Don't really want to talk about this. It was fucking shite from a Hearts perspective. One shot on target, and that shot didn't come to like very late in the game. And it was not even, it was never going to beat the goalkeeper. It wouldn't have beat me. Fuck me, I could have been sleeping in my bed and still made this save. So yeah, I mean, shite game for Hearts. Big win for Livingston. You know, David Martindale does what he does, really. He says Tab does what he does, but David Martindale does what he does. He wins games, he grinds out results. It's a David Martindale special, you know what I mean? So, fair play to him. Big win for Livingston. Motherwell, Dundee United. Don't know how this game finished 0-0. Kevin Van Veen, chance after chance after chance, just didn't want to score. I think he must have bet Dundee United to keep a clean sheet or something, because he just refused to put the ball in the back of the net here. So, not quite sure what happened with him, but who knows, on another day, Kevin Van Veen on form. I think Motherwell would have easily beat Dundee United, but just goes to show that Jack Ross gets sacked, and then all of a sudden Dundee United go 2 games without losing. So I feel like the players definitely let Jack Ross down big time. Ross County snatched a draw in the dying moments in Dingwall against Aberdeen. Aberdeen scored a really good goal. Guy flicked it up, banged it in. You know, it doesn't get much better than that. Aberdeen thought they'd won it. The fans ran in. They were doing a pitch invasion, which I thought was pretty embarrassing. A pitch invasion for beating Ross County, man, in the 6th game of the season. It's a bit too much, you know what I mean? It's a bit... I'm all for fans being passionate, like, and celebrating a win, but come on, there was no need for that, was there? And it didn't even get them a win, because, like I said, Ross County scrambled the ball in over the line with about a minute to go, so last kick of the game, really. So those Aberdeen fans that ran on just looked like absolute wankers, to be fair. Maybe they thought there was a bunch of sheep or something on the park to be shagged, and that's why they were excited and ran on there, 100 miles an hour. But who knows? They didn't get the win. It was a 1-1 draw. Ross County then snatching a point that they probably needed, to be fair. Malky Mackay not had a great start to the season, albeit it has been a difficult run-in for Ross County. And last but not least, it was St Johnstone beating St Mirren by 3-0. They signed a goal scorer in Nicky Clark, and he done exactly that. He scored a goal. Who would have thunk it, eh? Goal scorer score it. Where else would you get it? But yeah, big win for St Johnstone. Well-deserved win for St Johnstone. St Mirren weren't really at it. And St Johnstone, a lot of people's favourites to go down. Well, maybe prove some people wrong, Nicky Clark in. Got McLennan in for Aberdeen. They've got a goal scorer. They've got a guy that can create chances for goals to be scored. It's definitely not looking as bleak for St Johnstone as it was like a month or 2 ago. So let's have a look then at the league table. Then Celtic lead the way, 6 wins from 6. 25 goals scored, man. That is pretty insane. They're averaging more than 4 goals a game. So that's crazy. Only the 1 goal conceded, and it was an error from Joe Hart against Ross County, if you remember. So plus 24, man. That's big time. 18 points, 5 behind. You've got Rangers, 4 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. Scored 14, conceded 7. Then we have Aberdeen, 3 points behind them, scored 13. conceded 7, so Aberdeen's goal difference only 1 behind Rangers. We also have Hearts and Motherwell on 10 points. St Mirren round off the top 6 with 9. Then we go into the bottom 6, got Livingston with 9, Hibernian with 8, St Johnstone with 6, Ross County with 11, and last, not even on the screen, but I'll show them anyway, even though they're pish, it's Dundee United winless. Dundee United with only 2 goals. That will have to change. If they're going to do something, if they're going to change their fate, they're going to need to start scoring goals. But the thing is, I mean, there should be goal scorers in that team. Stephen Fletcher, Tony Watt, you've got the creative players they've got in midfield. Scoring goals shouldn't really be an issue for Dundee United, so I expect that to change, I do. Speaking of scoring goals, let's have a quick look then at the top goal scorers. Funnily enough, it is Nia Lyle Abada, who's got 6 goals. He's played 6 games, but let's be real, most of them have been from the bench. Abada has very rarely started games, so I know he started against Rangers there, but normally he comes on from the bench, doesn't get much time. That's why he's actually got the best goal per minute, goal involvement per minute ratio, so he's involved in a goal, 1.94 goals per game, so that's, you know, he's almost involved in 2 goals a game, which is really, really good. So, yeah, that's phenomenal. We also have Furahashi on 6 goals. He's still got a very impressive record. He's involved in a goal 1.52 times a game. Not as good as Abada, but it's still very good. Abada's shot accuracy 100% as well. So, he's had, 10 shots? Maybe he needs to start playing Abada more. I don't know. I mean, come on. It's looking like Abada should be starting. We've got Miovski with 5 goals in 6 games. Very good for him. We've got Felipe Neves there. Jota with 4 goals, 4 assists. Kolak has been good. 4 goals in 6 games. We've got Kevin Van Veen, 4 goals in 6 games too. I do feel like Kolak has been slightly overrated though when you look at his numbers. I mean, he's doing the same as Kevin Van Veen. He's actually behind Miovski. So, I don't understand really why Kolak's been... And I like Kolak, I think he's a good finisher, but I think he's been talked up to be this, amazing striker when we have strikers in the league who are in worse teams, so therefore you would argue maybe have worse service and stuff, who are scoring just as good as him at the moment. So, yeah, I think Miovski's a really good signing for Aberdeen, and he seems to be... I think he seems to be a goal scorer, man. I wouldn't be surprised if he is up there in the charts coming into the season. I could see Miovski easily getting 20 goals. I mean, he's already got 5 and 6, so why can't he break the 20-goal barrier? I mean, based on how this season started so far, I could see quite a lot of people breaking the 20-goal barrier if they stay fit. I mean, Celtic, I'm not even going to talk about the Celtic players. I think they've got 4 or 5 players that could easily do it. Abada, Furahashi, Giamakis, Jota. So, yeah, probably those 4. I think Miovski for Aberdeen could easily do it. I think Kolak for Rangers could easily do it. I think Kevin Van Veen could do it for Motherwell. And I did predict Shankland to do it at the start of the season. So, I mean, it is rare. I mean, getting 20 goals is pretty hard in the Scottish Premiership. But I think this season, I think we've got a lot of goal scorers in the league. And I think we could have at least 5, 6, 7 players that break the 20-goal barrier come the end of the season. But anyway, guys, that is it for the Scottish Premiership review show. Let me know down below, was it a good week for your team? If you support Rangers, if you support Drew McIntyre, it was a fucking shite week, wasn't it? A week to forget. Don't worry, next week should be better. 3 teams involved in European group stage football, man. Doesn't get much better than that. And then we have Scotland soon restarting our Euro Nations or whatever it is, man. Some shitey games against teams that don't matter. The only game that mattered was the game against Ukraine, and we bottled it. So, I don't know, what can Steve Clark do? If we ever lose to Ireland 3-0 again, by the way, the guy should walk. And I don't mean walk at the job, I mean fucking go into a ship and walk off the plank. Because that was a horrible result. Should never lose like that again. Anyway, that's it, guys. Leave your comments down below. I'll catch you in the next one. Till then, Fog Football says peace.